I think we're recording. It says we're recording. Hey, there we go.
Recording.
There's a little bit of a delay on this computer here, but anyway, welcome to the Underlords universe. I'm Brian. This is Josh. We like to discuss things that really inspire us to stay creative in our aging years, and we do music. And Josh writes stories under the name H. Prescott Lemon. We have this thing we call the Underlords universe, and on one level, it's a place where like we gather, we talk, and discuss the things that inspire us. But it's a bit of a double meaning because the Underlords universe is also a literary uh, realm,
Realm. Yeah,
realm,
good. I like that word, realm.
realm,
Right.
literary realm, and a lot of our videos, if you stumbled across us, a lot of our videos deal with the music side of things. But today we're going to be talking about Stephen King, right?
Yeah.
Stephen King,
Yeah.
because I believe my wife told me that today happens to be Stephen King's 78th birthday.
Yeah.
And I have read 25 Stephen King novels. How many have you read?
I don't know. I started reading Stephen King when I was young,
Hmm.
probably too young. And I've read him over the years. I read a lot of different writers, but I always kind of come back to him. I think that he's kind of a good foundation point from a weird tales, weird
Yeah.
fiction, horror fiction, you know,
Yeah, well,
genre.
Stephen King
Yeah.
himself was really inspired by a lot of the pulp authors from like the 30s and 40s and stuff.
Yes.
So,
Yes, he was.
but I've read 25. It kind of dawned on me earlier this a couple weeks ago. I was like, oh, okay, I've read 25 Stephen King novels. And I decided to rank those 25 Stephen King novels. And I invited Josh to partake in this.
I'm just a co-pilot. I'm just along for the ride. I haven't ranked any novels or anything
Like,
like that. I have opinions. I
yeah,
have
but see, that's
opinions.
the thing is that as I ranked the 25 that I read, one of them came in at number 25, which was actually a recommendation from him. So that's why I said, hey, I got this list. Let's chat. Let's
Let's
do
ride.
it. Let's
Let's
let's do
ride.
a little chin wag on this. So first of all, before we get into the ranking, I want to say this is not my top 25 of all his stuff because I've only read 25. So it's the top, it's the ranking of the ones I've read. Second of all,
We'll do the next
it
25 in 10 years.
perhaps. Perhaps, but I also want to point out that this is strictly it's not a literary analysis. I'm not an English professor. Okay, I'm not. It's just simply a matter of how much did I enjoy this book over that book? Okay,
We're just fans.
just fans, just fans. So before we get into that, one thing I'd like to know: how did you get into? What was your introduction to Stephen King?
My introduction to Stephen King came when I was 9 years old, and I read a book called The Long Walk, recently made into a film
It's
adaptation.
actually out right now.
Yeah, it's actually out right now. Just saw the movie. We don't need to get into that. But I read this when I was 9 years old. Probably, if you know anything about The Long Walk, probably not the best book for a 9 year old to be reading, but I loved it. I actually, over the last few years, went out and spent more money than I'm going to admit to get the original first edition of the paperback because the story means so much to me, and I love the cover and one of my favorite stories. So we'll
You
see
know,
where this falls for you,
Yeah,
though, in
yeah,
your top
yeah,
25.
for sure. I'm also I want to get to that movie. Susan and I were talking about getting
Yeah.
to it, and you and Donna just saw it recently.
Yes, we did.
So maybe we'll
Do
do
an
a chit
episode on
chat on
that.
the
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So my introduction to Stephen King as a kid, I mean, I was aware of the movies like The Shining, Salem's Lot, like that stuff, but it was also there was Cujo was out, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. Children of the Corn.
Rabid Dog. Children of the Corn, it just seems stupid to me when I was a kid. It was like, wow, a bunch of kids in a cornfield.
Yeah.
Um, I was more into haunted houses and slasher films. Movies like Halloween. Didn't realize the same director directed Christine at the time.
Yeah.
So, but Christine, Haunted Car, big deal. Pet Cemetery, okay, Dead Cats or whatever. As a young person, generally speaking, Stephen King sounded kind of corny to me. I didn't have the ability to appreciate really what it was. So years later, I read Salem's Lot, And I thought, okay, yeah, there's something to this guy.
Yeah.
So it's only been, I think, in the last maybe 15 years or so, that I've kind of gotten into Stephen King as an author. So a lot of you out there, if you're still with us, you might be much bigger Stephen King aficionados, fans, than we are. And what I would suggest is if you are with us and you stick with this video, offer not only a response, but maybe a recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm right in the middle of my 26th Stephen King. I'm reading Cell right now, which came out in 2006. I'm reading this because the school I work in has put into place a stiff cell phone policy. And I thought, yeah, time to read Cell.
Probably would have been good for the world.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm halfway through it. So at any rate, should we get
Let's
going?
do it. You
Okay.
start with 25 and you're going to one.
25 down to one.
Just jump in as needed.
You just dive in, okay? And I'm gonna start with 25 Lacey's story. Just finished it. You want to jump in? Go jump in. This is 25.
So you didn't like it?
No, this was a slog for me. This was difficult for me to read. There are a few things, and I'm not going to nitpick every single book, okay, but just a few reasons why I did not enjoy Lacey's story. I love the premise of Lacey's story. Love the premise of it. It just seemed disjointed, and I had a hard time putting myself into the story. He's so good usually at being able to kind of create the environment for you to kind of experience the story, as you read it. I just could not do that. I didn't care for the characters. I didn't connect to them. Um, I really, like a lot of people out there, I guess, that I've seen, I really did not like the kind of the code language between Lacey and her husband. I also really did not like the fact that almost every single chapter seemed to end mid-sentence, which indicated you couldn't take a break. You just had to go on to the next chapter. There's just so much about it I just didn't like. I didn't get. I still don't understand what a bool is. A bool hunt. I don't know. I don't care. Booyah Moon. Don't care. It's
You don't like Booyah Moon?
No, hate it. Hate
Oh
Booyah Moon.
man,
Hate
I
Bool. I
love
hate.
Booyah Moon. This is a beautiful dream. And the story is very, very satisfying to me. To me, it is a statement about imagination.
Yeah.
It's an epic about imagination and the power of imagination. And I think that
hmm
as a creative person, I think you're missing the boat on that
I
one.
have no problem. Again, I think the premise. I agree with that. I think the premise is awesome.
And
I just don't like the execution of
I
it.
think I do like the
Yeah.
characters, and I think the ending was very, very
Mhm.
satisfying.
I'll tell you what, though, I feel bad. I feel bad saying that I did not like Lacey's story because you recommended it to me.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
and I hate to say that, my friend, but it just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, but I committed though. I read the whole thing.
I
I
appreciate
did.
it. I've read it twice. It's
Oh,
been a
have
while.
you?
It's been a
Okay.
while. But yeah, no, I think it's one of his better works. I found it
Yeah.
thoroughly satisfying and enjoyable, and a great, real commentary on the power of imagination.
Okay.
So that's where I land on it.
Yeah. Well, here's where I land on it. I bought it for $1 at the bargain bin at Half Price Books, and for that, it was worth it. But it's still 25 out of 25.
25.
So next up, Fairy Tale. Fairy Tale. Have you read Fairy Tale?
No.
Okay. So just a quick comment on Fairy Tale. I think the first 150 pages or so before it gets into the fairy kind of
Tale.
part of the tale of the fairy tale is actually really compelling. And the characters, I was like, wow, this is great. Then once the main character goes down the rabbit hole, so to speak, um, yeah, I stopped caring. But I did finish it. I did. But that's 24 for me.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. This is
Keep
gonna be
going.
this here's controversial. Lots.
Ooh, we're gonna talk about this one.
Oh, and I know a former colleague of mine is adores this book, as do many people. I went ahead and snooped around a little bit to see what some other, listings of Stephen King. So many people put this as like their number one Stephen
A
King
lot of
book.
people
That's
do.
right. It's The Stand. This is the unabridged version of The Stand.
And
I'm not a big fan.
and
Sorry.
and
For
on
me.
this issue,
So this,
we are aligned. On this issue, we are aligned.
yep.
I read The Stand recently. It was one of the later Stephen King books I've read. I mean, I
Hmm.
tried like 20 times to read The Stand and just couldn't get through it.
Hmm.
This time I committed within the last couple of years. I said, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I read the expanded version.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. That
Yeah.
one. And I would say I think The Stand, it's some of his best setup work. I think
The first,
the
just like
first
with Fairy
half of
Tale,
the
the
book,
first part of the
the
book is
first half of the
great.
book, I think is absolutely brilliant. Who's that one character, the kid? The
Yeah.
kid.
The kid.
I think that's some of the best characterization that Stephen King has ever done. But the last third of the book, it just nosedives, and just again, as I talked about with Lisi's story, Lisi's story had a really gratifying, satisfying
Uh-huh.
ending, but The Stand was just a complete disappointment at the end.
Yeah. So that Twinkie's probably more satisfying than The Stand for you.
Ring filling.
So that's interesting. We both kind of agree on The Stand. I thought I agree. The first part of it I thought was really good, and then
Yeah.
it was just kind of like, wow, this is this. But by the time you got to Randall Flagg's part of the whole thing, it was like there was so many opportunities to really. It was just kind
What's
of,
up with that ending?
I don't know.
I can't even remember.
I mean, there were references to like crucifixions and all this stuff, and it's like, and then nothing happened.
Nothing
It's like,
happened.
now, some people out there that are Stephen King fans are going to be like, "Oh my God, you actually put The Stand lower on the list than Cycle of the
Cycle of
Werewolf?"
the Werewolf's good.
And yes, I enjoyed Cycle of the Werewolf.
I haven't read
Yeah,
Cycle of the Werewolf in like 30 years.
yeah.
I believe was the film Silver Bullet based on Cycle of the Werewolf?
I don't know. I've never actually seen the movie.
Oh, it's a good
Yeah.
movie.
Maybe I should check it out. But yeah, obviously quick, easy read. Yeah, I think there's, potentially a better story here if he had kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. But, it is what it is.
I'm gonna
It is
reread
decent.
Cycle of the
Yeah.
Werewolf to see if it does align with Silver Bullet, because you know that Gary Busey is in Silver Bullet.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is, but I've never seen it.
No, but you do know who Gary Busey
Oh,
is.
well, who does? Who doesn't?
Boom Bear Hands.
Oh yeah. So that's what, 25, 4, 3. That's 22. So Cycle of the Werewolf comes at 22. 21, Stephen King's Later, which is on the hard case crime.
I've
Uh,
never read any of those.
yeah, this
They don't really interest me.
it's okay. I thought it was a decent story. I enjoyed reading it, and then when I was done, I was like, okay, there you go, done. All right. So next up, grab the stack here. Grab the stack of books. All right. So that was what? That's 21.
Yeah.
So 20 would be Doctor Sleep, the follow-up to The Shining.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know, man. This I probably feel about Doctor Sleep like you felt about Lisi's story. I
mm,
was annoyed. I was
mm,
annoyed by the carnival characters, and it just bugged the hell out of me. It just
yeah.
bugged the hell out of me.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it didn't bug the hell out of me. Okay. So that's 20.
Okay.
19 Doomickey, which I think could have used some editing. I think it could have been trimmed down. The paperback version is, what is it, like 765 pages. I think if you trim down a good maybe 100 to 200 pages out of it, it probably would be better. Um, I think there's some really great uh, dialogue in the book between the main characters. I really like how the story comes to an end, which is not necessarily something you can say with a lot of Stephen King books. He kind of gets knocked sometimes for his endings. Um, but there was a point at when I was reading Doom McKee where I was kind of like, okay, I'm kind of plowing through, but eventually the payoff happened, and I thought it was good. It was good.
Yeah. I
Um,
never finished it.
oh, really? So
No.
okay.
No. I know there was a Duma
Yeah.
and a key.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to be confused with like
Another key.
another key, like I mean, well, the real question is Duma really is it part of the Florida Keys?
I think it
It
was.
was,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, are there key lines?
No.
No, no. Okay. Next up, so what is that? 2019. Is this 18? I'm losing count, folks. The Outsider.
Again, never
Again,
read it. So I mean, on your recommendation, I've thought about it.
yeah.
I've looked at it. You seem to think it's pretty satisfying.
It's like a few of these other books. I think the first half of it is really good.
Yeah.
Really, really
There's a
good.
theme here.
Yeah. Now the thing about it though is it's so dark. The Outsider, the first part of it is so dark. It's disturbing. Um, it's almost as if it's so dark and so disturbing, and uh, that to turn it into some sort of supernatural story almost cheapens the brutality that's early in the book. And that's the problem I had with it,
Yeah.
honestly. It was just like this kind of thing, the crime that happens could happen in real life, does happen in real life. And to just kind of make, I don't know, that didn't work for me, but part of it was pretty riveting. And then kind of the climax of the story was kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I stuck with it. It's good, but it's not great. Here's another one that didn't rank as high as I thought it might for some other folks is Misery.
Yeah.
So, what was that 2019, 18? Is this 17? Is this 17? I guess I'm trying to count backwards. I don't do math very well, folks. Sorry about that. I think there's nothing wrong with it. But it just, I kind of got, it's like, okay, he's stuck in this house, in this bed, and
See, I think that's
yeah,
when Stephen King is at his best. When and not that he can't write big fantasies because we're gonna probably talk
mhm.
a little bit about that. But when things are very condensed and you're in a
Yep.
very tight environment, I think he's brilliant. And I love Misery. I think it's fantastic. It was one of my favorites. I They do go into, without spoiler alert, if you haven't read it, but the actual he's writing also a romance novel. So a lot of the romance
That,
novel,
yes.
and that's where I got lost. I remember reading it like, no, I love the story, but then we're going into chapters where he's, writing as a romance
Yeah.
writer, and it's just I'm just gonna kind of skip through that. I was younger, I didn't have the patience.
I think that's part of what kind of
Yeah.
slowed it down
But
for
the
me.
story itself, I think, is I love it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is you're in a house.
Yeah.
You're in a house with a psycho.
Yeah. And
And
the movie version is very good
movie's
too.
great.
Yeah.
Movie's great.
So don't get me wrong. My kind of nonchalant approach to it is more about where it's placed in the list, not so much like a negative on the book itself.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just I actually like some other Stephen King better. So there we go. Next up is what I want to do want to point out. Holly Gibney's a repeating character, and she makes an
Yeah.
appearance in The Outsider. So and she's also in the Excuse me.
Yeah, you.
The Bill Hodges trilogy, End of Watch,
Yeah.
comes in next. Have you read?
No,
Huh?
you've read a lot of stuff. I think I've read a lot that you haven't read, and you've read a lot that I haven't read.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So yeah, End of Watch is the third of the Bill Hodges trilogy. I thought it was good, but I thought that the other Bill Hodges stories were better. And so I have those all kind of grouped together in this ranking. So that is 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. That's 16. 15, Mr. Mercedes, the first, and then 14, the middle story, Finders Keepers.
Would you call these horror stories?
No,
I'm just okay.
no.
See, that's probably why I've stayed away from him because I love the horror and what he does with horror. So
Yeah.
I think that's why I've stayed away from some of those.
Well, I think these are good stories. I think they're good books. To me, so Mr. Mercedes, I think is a good story. We're trying to avoid spoilers, so we're not going into a lot of details of the actual stories, but um, the Mr. Mercedes and End of Watch, I think are they're much similar because they deal with some of this like the same themes, the
Yeah.
same characters and stuff. Finders Keepers is a little bit more of a detour, and so because it's a kind of a trilogy, it almost seems like Finders Keepers sticks out like a sore thumb to me, but I actually liked the sore thumb a bit more than it's almost like
Okay.
if the third one had been different enough, then I don't know. But yeah, 14, 15, 16, so 14.
I'm still engaged. I just there's a
Yeah.
couple of things I'm looking up.
Yeah,
So just
you go ahead and look up.
please just bear with
So
me.
here's sure you do that. So yeah, so the Bill Hodges trilogy comes in there. Was at 14, 13, I guess 13 is where we're at. I'm gonna put the Tommyknockers here next. Tommyknockers. And the Tommyknockers gets knocked not only by a lot of fans, but it gets knocked by Stephen King himself. He's openly said he said Lacey's Story, I think, is Stephen King's favorite book he
Yeah.
ever wrote. And the Tommyknockers, he said, is like the worst. There's a scene at a party in this book that is one of the best things he's ever written. It was like laugh out loud funny. And that's one thing I think a lot of Steve people say you mentioned horror, right?
He's
He
very
does
funny as well.
he it,
Very funny, very clever.
most I think when Stephen King is on, it's when he's funny.
Yeah.
And he can be funny just because he's kind of got a snarky kind of approach to things. Boy, that scene at the party is one of the funniest things I've ever read, ever, from anybody. It's so great. Now, does this book need to be this big? No. But I did read it and then half of it, and I took like about a 3 month break, and then I came back to it after it and finished it. It is stupid. This is a stupid story.
I've started it and it just didn't go
Did
anywhere
you
for
read The
me.
Party?
I,
Just
I
oh my God. But that still, it's like one of my favorite, like 2 or 3 pages of anything he's ever written. But I mean, there's a so again, trying to avoid spoilers, but there's something in the air. There's something in the air that seeps out of this, UFO that's in the ground or whatever.
that happened.
But yeah, but there's a character who is like immune to it because he has a metal plate in his head.
Yes, the metal plate.
What? How does a metal plate in your head help prevent you from getting the toxins from what's in the air? It makes no sense.
It's science.
No
It's
sense.
science.
No sense. No science. But what I was entertained by, and that's the thing. It was entertaining. Entertaining. Okay. Next up, The Dark Half.
This is one you've really intrigued me with. Again,
Yeah.
never read this one.
This was inspired by being outed by a fan as Richard Bachman because
Yeah.
when at one point nobody knew that Richard Bachman was a pseudonym, a pen name for Stephen King.
Yeah, my version of the Long Walk doesn't say Stephen King. It actually says
It just says Richard
Richard
Bachman.
Bachman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I thought it's not a perfect story, but I
You really
liked it.
intrigued me. That's going to be one of the next ones I
Yeah,
do.
it's pretty violent too. It's pretty dark.
I like that.
Okay, and then next up, The Running Man.
Love it.
The Running Man.
Absolutely great story.
Yeah, and here's a kind of a funny thing. The Running Man, I read The Long Walk and The Running Man in that order, back to back, a few years ago.
Yeah.
And then this fall, The Long Walk and The Running Man are coming out in film
I'm
version.
excited about the new movie.
Yep.
It's a great story. I love it.
Yep, great story. Yeah. So this is also a Bachman story.
Very dystopian.
Oh yeah.
He does well with dystopians.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of dystopia, The Long Walk comes in next for me.
What number are you at now?
Yeah, so 5, 10, 15. So we're in the top 10. So this is 10.
Yeah.
So this is 10. Number 10 is The Long Walk. And of course, you've got your original. I've
Yeah.
got this.
I had to have the original.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't cheap.
No, riveting story. I think like you said before, I don't know if we were recording when you mentioned this, but it's really about the kind of the dynamics of the relationship of the characters while they're on this
A death march.
on this death march.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go. This is definitely. I haven't ranked them like you have, but this would
Mhm.
definitely, I think, be in my top 5. And probably as I look at being an author and a writer of very small stature and importance, but still, I would say that this book is one of the books that inspired me to want to write.
Mm.
It's just such a good book and so dark. And I mean, again, I'll just emphasize again, I was like 9 years old when I read it. probably not the best thing for my growth and adjustment
Yeah,
as as a human
but the
being.
fact that you could read it and
Yeah.
comprehend it at age
Oh yeah,
9 is,
no. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, no, it
It
makes
says something
sense.
about our education system, folks.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, next up, his first published, which by the way, I think The Long
I
Walk
believe it was.
was the first novel he actually wrote. I think he was like 19
Yeah,
when he wrote that.
yeah.
Now, the first published novel, the first novel I got published was Carrie, and that comes in next for me at number 9.
Hmm.
So, I can't remember what's the type of novel when you piece it together using like clips of like a diary entry here, a newspaper article there. There's a certain style of writing. I can't remember what that's called.
A hodgepodge.
That's it. It's the hodgepodge. But it's in that format and good story. It's a weird sort of coming of age story,
Yeah.
and but it is, and it's very good. So Carrie. Next up was a book that I started at one point and then put down because I was just like, I love the movie, can't get the book. But then maybe a year later, I picked the book back up, tried it again, and loved it.
Yeah,
And
really good book.
The
Really good.
Shining,
Yeah, I love.
The Shining. So, yep, that's coming in at 10, 9, 8, number 8, and number 7, Cujo.
Cujo's very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, because again, I think it's the what I call the small dynamics
yep,
of whether you're talking about, being trapped in a house with a psycho and
hmm
your legs busted up, or you're trapped in a Pinto. I think
right.
she was in a Ford Pinto, and there's a rabid dog. I mean, these are kind of small, very condensed stories, and I think he's absolutely brilliant in that milieu.
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 Yeah, yeah. I remember as a kid, uh, Cujo was on like HBO,
Yeah.
and I was kind of watching it and going, okay, well, I mean, yeah, dog slobber. And the phone rings, and it was the neighbor kid down the street. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm watching Cujo." He says, "Oh, we're about to start watching Friday the 13th Part 4. Do you want to come down?" I was like, "Boom!" And I was on my way down. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's where. So as a kid, he was like, "Okay, rabid dog, whoop-de-doo." Well, the book though. And what's interesting is, I was complaining about Lacey's story having no, like the way the chapter breaks kind of leads you one into the next. There are no chapter breaks in Cujo. Like it literally is like a binge. He binged write or wrote this thing, and you kind of got to binge read it. But I liked it. Okay, so coming in at number 6 is one of his more recent books, and that is Holly.
Never read it.
Yep. So Holly she's in Mr. Mercedes, Finders Keepers, End of Watch, The Outsider. Then she was in a short story, which is in If It Bleeds. And then Holly, which is there's nothing supernatural about this. It's really kind of it reminds me more of a Thomas Harris Silence of the Lambs type story.
Mm.
But I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and that's a great cover. I just
It's got a house.
It does. It's got a house. So I really liked Holly. I like this, and his new book, which I haven't read yet, which is Never Flinch. That's Holly Gibney's in that as well. He really likes that character. So we are on to the top 5.
But it's really amazing. We've read some really different Stephen King.
He's written like a billion books,
Yeah.
billions and
Yeah.
Revival.
You talk a lot about this one. This gets very high
This is 5.
ratings,
Yep.
and I've never read it, but it is again because of you. It's one that I look at. It's like, yeah, I will get to that one.
I'd love to know what you think of it when you read it, and maybe
I'll
you'll
take
end
it
up
next.
maybe you'll read it and you'll be like, dude, you
Yeah, I'm gonna totally Lacey's story this one on you.
You are probably going to Lacey's
Yeah,
story
yeah.
on me. Yeah, but I love how bleak and dark it is, and it again, no spoilers, folks. It does not paint a rosy picture of the afterlife. Put it that way.
Oh, that's upbeat.
Next up, I just finished this. Again, when I was a kid, Haunted Car, didn't care. Christine, wow, this is a great story.
Christine is the first proper Stephen King story I read. Like, I didn't know I was reading Stephen King when I read The Long Walk
Mm-hmm.
because it was Richard Bachman and I was 9 years old. What did I know?
Yeah.
But I remember we went on vacation one year and my mom would always buy us a paperback. And I wanted Christine. So I was probably 12, 11 or 12 maybe. And I read Christine and I loved it. I mean, it's just such a straightforward story. It's
Mhm.
on a car with like ghosts. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
absolutely fun story to
and
read.
my wife had just read this and she loved it. And she was like, she goes, when you read this, she goes, you're going to get a definite creep show vibe
Yeah, oh
out of it.
yeah, yeah.
And which
Weird,
is totally different.
eerie tales.
Yeah, totally different than the movie. Well, I should say this. I think the movie by John Carpenter is actually a really good adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a classic John Carpenter movie, which took me years to watch it, which is dumb. I mean, I love Halloween, I love The Thing, so they live,
They live.
um, etc. But you know, the one thing that the John Carpenter movie doesn't have is it doesn't have it kind of trims out. It doesn't include the creep show elements that I think are really strong in the book. And Susan and I were talking about this. It'd be great if not to replace John Carpenter's version because it's a great movie
Yeah,
too, but if they did a new like a series,
yeah,
like a maybe 6, 7 episode
yeah.
series of Christine and really bring it because man, uh, um, why why can't I think of his name? His
Darnell?
yeah,
Boy, I can't
uh,
believe I remember.
um, his corpse appears in the car and
Yeah,
everything, and it's just got a very like in Creepshow too,
yeah.
like thanks for the ride, lady. Just it just has that kind of vibe to it. I mean, it's like a corpse driving a car would be it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Okay, now,
You're in your top couple here.
yep, number what is it 3?
Yeah,
Yeah, Joyland. It's one of the hard case
yeah,
crime stories. And I got to tell you, this book actually kind of pulled at my emotional strings when I got to the end of this book. Um, I could see the book, the characters, I could see the story. I fell into it and just kind of wanted to keep with it. And when it got to the end, it just had an emotional heft to it that most of his other books don't have. That's not to say, Christine's a great book. It's a great story, but it doesn't have an emotional pull to it. I honestly, Joyland really did for me. I couldn't tell you why. It just did. So I put it really, really high up there.
okay.
Yeah. But it's not a horror story.
See, that's and I do tend to avoid those.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, again, not to belabor the point, but back as a kid, the movie versions, like I know there's two versions of this film out.
Yeah,
I have not seen the remake, although I plan to. But man, as a kid, this movie, it was a stinker. But the book, Pet
Pet
Cemetery,
Cemetery is really good.
oh my God. Like as a commentary on grief
Yeah,
and at our age and we've gone through losing people, family members, parents, etc. This one really hit hard as well, so it's a horror film that actually had an emotional tug as
yeah.
well. And that's did he actually considered not publishing this book?
Really? Wow.
Yeah, just because it was so dark.
Yeah, I mentioned that my first proper Stephen King book was Christine, and then I think on our next vacation, when I would always get a paperback to read while we were in the car,
Hmm.
I got Pet Cemetery. So that was, I think, really the second one. And I mean, as a kid, as a teenage, early adolescent teenager, I mean, I was super dark and,
Hmm.
loving animals like I do.
Hmm.
That was a hard one to read, but absolutely great story.
Do
I
you
love it.
do you think because obviously the main character is it's because he's grieving for his kid.
Yeah.
When you were a kid reading it, do you think that you got that parental element of the story, or And have you read it as an adult?
I have not. So this reading it goes back to 1984 for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'm guessing I was kind of picking up on on the element that you're talking
I think
about.
you could, yeah,
But,
yeah.
I mean, I was a highly intelligent child.
I mean, you already read Christine, so
I'm probably not very intelligent adult, but
yeah,
So yeah, I think I did get it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 So that leads me to my number one, and I'm gonna say, on any other day, I could probably switch Pet Cemetery with this. It's just
Yeah.
kind of, I'm putting this at number one because it is the first Stephen King book that I read. I loved it when I read it. I love the film or well, the made-for-TV
Yeah.
adaptation starring David Soul, Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
What a great take on vampires.
Absolutely great.
Great take on vampires. Um, another thing about these books, when I think about like rating the Stephen King books, the thing that kind of like my North Star for considering this is what are the ones that I would like to read again?
I'm good. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And ultimately, the books near the best on my list are the ones where it's like I do want to read Salem's Lot again. I do want to read Pet Cemetery again. I can see myself reading Christine again
Yeah.
down the road, even though I just read it. Um, I just don't think I could ever try reading The Stand again.
No.
Or
No.
you know, or like I said, or Lacey's story. And like I said, there's 25 Stephen King books. That's all I've read,
I,
not counting short stories. I did read Like It You Like It
yeah.
Dark. I've read, If It Bleeds. I've read
Night Shift,
Night Shift. So not
different
counting
seasons.
I've actually not read
Different
different seasons.
seasons, very good. Yeah.
So, so that's maybe something to explore later, his shorter works, but
I
um
I've got you it's interesting because you've kind of fired my imagination to say there's several in there that I've not read that I'm now going to make a point
uh
to read, but
well, and that gets to, if you have stayed with us, the one or two viewers out there that have stumbled across this and maybe have nothing better to do. If you're a Stephen King fan and there's a book, like I said earlier, I'm reading Cell. What should I read next? I mean,
I've got advice.
I do have Never Flinch because it's new.
Yeah.
Uh, Susan keeps telling me I need to get to Needful Things because that's one of her all-time
Yeah.
favorites. What would you say, and what would you say?
What I would say, I have a few that I would recommend off the
Hmm.
bat. One, Gerald's Game. I
Oh,
can't believe you haven't read Gerald's Game.
I know.
And again, it's Stephen King working kind of on the micro level. It's someone handcuffed to a bed
Hmm.
in a cabin. The door's open. They didn't even shut the door, so the screen door's banging open.
Yeah.
And there's stuff going on outside that's getting closer. And there's a whole psychological element to it. There's a physical element to it. So Gerald's Game is definitely would probably end up being in my top five. I think it's great.
Okay.
God, one I read years ago that I remember really liking is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of just
And
stumbled
that's
on
not a
that one.
horror story.
No, no, it is.
It is?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Lost in the Woods,
I thought
yes.
it was about baseball.
No, I mean there's a baseball element to it because
Oh,
of
okay.
Tom Gordon, but that one I thought was quite good. Um, my all-time favorite,
Hmm.
which I keep telling you to read it. I keep telling you to read it. You don't read it, is
Oh, The
The
Talisman. Yeah.
Talisman. Absolutely one of my favorite novels of all time. He wrote it with Peter Straub. And I've read it a few times. And this is an example. I keep saying that Stephen King is great kind of on the micro level, but this is also an example of how Stephen King can be brilliant when writing an expansive fantasy
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
which to me, that's one of the best fantasy books. There are horror elements to it, but it's really a fantasy story. I absolutely one of my favorite novels of all time. Again, one of the books that made me say, I want to
All
write
right. So
because
you say The Talisman.
The
You
Talisman,
say
Gerald's
Gerald's
Game,
Game.
yeah,
You say
The Girl of Tom
The Girl Who
Gordon.
Loved Tom Gordon.
The Dark Tower. I'm reading the
Yeah.
Dark Tower series now, and I really quite like it. So I'm not sure I would put that in my favorite Stephen
Yeah.
King, but yeah, Eyes
That's
of the Dragon too. Don't forget about that one.
well, I think he wrote that with his daughter in mind.
Yeah, it's good.
So
Good fantasy.
um but yeah, so there's those, and and when whatever your recommendations are. Now, at the very beginning of this, I said that you know, as old farts, we still like to do creative stuff. In fact, earlier today, we were finishing up writing a song, and that song is a song that's kind of, I don't know, how would you say, it's inspired by or hinting at one of the short stories that you
It
wrote.
intertwines with it a little bit,
Kind
yeah.
of interesting. That's kind of what we do is when we write music and stuff, we kind of take a cue thematically or from titles that he's written or themes and stories that he's written, and we kind of blend them together. So the music, if you check out our music and you don't care about reading the stuff can stand alone. If you check out what Josh writes under the name H. Prescott Lemon, HP Lemon.
HP Lemon.
HP Lemon is the official author in the Underlords universe, and as a bass player, Josh. And so we have music in CD form. This stuff these work as great coasters when you're reading a book.
Yeah.
And so that's something. They're available on Bandcamp, and you can stream on any streaming service. But the literary side of this, there's uh there's a series. This is book one in the series, Underlords of the Overworld.
Yep.
And gosh, with the lighting here, can you read the back of that?
Sure. Yeah, the 1980s. It was a decade of big hair and even bigger ambitions for four aspiring Midwestern teens. The dream of rock and roll stardom loomed large over the Iowa cornfields. But when talent alone won't pave the road to fame and fortune, an accidental pact with a lesser demon will suffice.
A lesser demon.
Lesser demon. So that's really the premise of the book,
Yeah.
and then all of the foibles of getting their souls back, and results in a battle of the bands in hell and
Right.
eventual time travel, and
And there
happens
are
every day.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
every day. I mean, it's just everyday stuff. And there are four published books in this series.
About to be five, working on getting that fifth one
About to be
done.
five. And then there is, within the broader Underworlds universe, there's the OAO, Ordo Abstrusis Oculus.
Yeah.
And as a side note, if you're an Iron Maiden fan, especially if you're an Iron Maiden fan that likes the Blaze Bayley era of Iron Maiden from the 1990s, we had Blaze Bayley do a vocal on a song called Ordo Abstrusis Oculus, which is a reference to this. Would you be so kind as to?
Yeah, so I mean, again, the series is really about kind of an absurd secret society. So again, Nolan Weinbauer is just a working stiff in a dead-end government job whose marriage is on the rocks. The portrait of mediocrity, but when his boss discovers he's an aspiring science fiction writer, a new job opportunity presents itself. Cover and deception, craft incredible explanations for fantastic events the general public isn't ready for. Magic, aliens, and mythical creatures are just the beginning. Soon, Nolan is pulled into a shadowy government task force that includes a mysterious magician, a ventriloquist prophet, an infamous vampire author, and even a talking marmot. Investigating a series of strange sightings in the American heartland, nothing can prepare Nolan for a face-to-face encounter with the twisted scientific sorcery of the Consciousness Eater. So,
And that's book. There's a
book one.
Book one.
There's four in the series so far.
And then the most recent thing you published is Smaller Than Death. Smaller Than Death.
Yeah.
And this is a series of short stories, smaller stories.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's levels of meaning to all of this, folks. There's a story in here called The Amazing Shrinking Underlords, which kind of relates to the
And you
broader.
came up with that title. You inspired that title. You inspire a lot of the writing through collaboration and conversations, and you get writing credits on a lot of stuff. We actually collaborated on a story in there as well.
Oh, I forgot about that. We did.
I think that's really worth saying.
Yes. Helen won.
Helen won.
Right. So welcome to the Underlords universe, a landscape of dark and unsettling topography. While visiting, you'll encounter all manner of oddities, including the perils of supernatural real estate fraud, A telephone helpline dedicated to resolving demonic infestation for a price. I like that. That's one of my favorite stories. The Titanic battle between a superpowered rock band and a subatomic demigod,
Yeah,
because it happens.
it does.
I mean,
Not to us,
well,
but
oh,
other
well,
people.
no,
Other people.
no. A fearless feline familiar. That's a familiar, like as a
It's a familiar, like a
as a
witch is
familiar.
familiar, a
Yeah,
sorcerer is familiar.
right. A fearless feline familiar protecting her mystical master from the onslaught of a diabolical housefly. A laundromat that harbors a horrifying secret. A forbidding wilderness where an academic expedition uncovers the chilling secret of its unearthly inhabitants. Fun times. This is fun times.
It's weird.
These are just some of the bewildering absurdities that inhabit the pages within. Whether you're new to this region or a seasoned tourist, the stories in this volume chart the arcane depths and uncanny heights of the Underlords universe, smaller than death. And you can find H.P. Lemon's work on Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
So we'll put links below if you're interested in checking out and helping to support independent creatives, people like us. We'd appreciate it. And if you can like, subscribe, comment, tell us where my list is completely wrong on Stephen King. Give me recommendations,
You're
etc.
completely wrong about Lisi's story.
Okay. I'm wrong about Lisi's story. And the last thing I'll say is happy birthday, Stephen King. Happy 78th. Hopefully there's many more to come. And as a side note, Susan painted that.
Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. So there we go. Anything else we got to say?
No, thank you for your time if you've been sticking with us.
All right. Toodles, folks.
Goodbye.
Bye.